It's time for Mac Break Weekly. Renee's here, Andy's here, and Alex Lindsay's back. And, of course, we're going to be talking about Apple's big event coming March 8th. Still waiting for those invitations. Will Apple call it off due to the war in Ukraine? One thing Apple did might change things in Russia. And we'll talk about a way you can turn your heroes into little tiny plastic figurines. We'll start with Jim Dalrymple. It's all coming up next on Mac Break Weekly.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust. This is Twit.
This is Mac Break Weekly, episode 807, recorded Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. A Bronzed Jim Dalrymple. Mac Break Weekly is brought to you by Wealthfront. To start building your wealth and get your first $5,000 managed free for life, go to wealthfront.com/MacBreak. And by ZipRecruiter. According to research, 90% of employers plan to enhance their employees' experience this year. And if you need to add more employees, well, there's ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified candidates for your job, and you can invite your top choices to apply. Try ZipRecruiter free today. ZipRecruiter.com/MacBreak. And by CashFly. CashFly is giving away a complimentary detailed analysis of your current CDN bill and usage trends. See if you are overpaying 20% or more. Learn more at twit.cashfly.com. It's time for Mac Break Weekly, the show where we cover the latest news from Apple. Renee Ritchie here, YouTube phenom. Hello, Renee.
We have news, Leo. I swear we have news. We have all the news. We have so much news.
Well, I guess there's really only one question. Has the invitation arrived yet?
No, I think the world is too sensitive to do an invitation right this week.
Oh, maybe, yeah. That might be. Oh, hey, I recognize that basso profundo. Alex Lindsay is in the house. Welcome back. We missed you.
I forgot I hadn't been introduced yet, and I started adding things to it.
Oh, you're always welcome to do that. Oh, and there, speaking of basso profundos, is Andy Anako. The whole gang is here. Where have you been,
Indeed.
Alex?
I didn't leave anywhere. You know, I do virtual events, so I don't have to go anywhere
you're just busy,
to do those.
Yeah.
Well, no, there was an event. There was an event last Tuesday, but I didn't have to go. I was able to manage it from the comfort of my own office. Not quite my own home, but my own office, yeah.
You've kind of configured it now this way so that you can have your tentacles, your fingers wired. See, I want to do the opposite, and maybe you can help me. I want to do everything I do on a boat somewhere else in the world. I don't
in international waters, beyond the reach
of the authorities.
No, pirates, don't do it. Don't do it, pirates.
I think that the Starlink is getting close. So
yeah, that's why I put it in a reservation, because they say now it's tied to your residential address, so you can't move it around. But they also said that at some point they'll let you do that. And that's then I could have, I get on the cruise ship, set up on the balcony, set up my little Starlink.
Well, and the big thing is getting it to be able to move, which evidently it can move. It's just they just don't let you set it up that way right now.
Dishy McDishface, doesn't it have a motor in it? Doesn't it move?
Yeah, it can error correct. Evidently it can error correct at a pretty high speed. I understand. But right now I just got one, and it really needs to see the whole sky.
Yes.
I thought this will be great. I'll just see this. I have a complete view of the southern sky. Not enough.
No, it has to be the whole sky. Yeah,
it has to be the whole sky.
In fact, when you're installing it, I know this because I follow the Starlink subreddit,
right?
And so I've been watching people go through this for a year or so. When you get it, it actually, when there's instruction, it'll tell you. It'll show you a little picture of the bush. Well, it wants the 360 horizon. So you put it on a big pole or something, right?
I'm going to put it on the roof eventually, but right now I actually want to see how far I can take it from my house. We have some people in office hours that have taken as much as 10 or 12 miles.
What?
So, so it's not like to your address. It's to a region around your address.
See. Yeah, but 12 miles. I want to go farther than that.
Well, no, but I want to see how far I can do it. And then I'm told, and I haven't tested this, I'm told that if you just change your address, it's more about managing load. They're not trying to keep you in one place.
Yeah.
They're just trying to manage the load to the servers. And so
they can't handle all of the traffic they would be getting if everybody used it. So they're trying to spread it out evenly.
Well, and also if everybody used it and they didn't know where you were, and they were, so the So anyway, so I'm going to take it to Monterey and take it to other places and like,
good. Let us know.
Can I change the address and can I do that stuff? So that's all coming in the next couple of weeks.
But they have said that down the road, once they get all the satellites up and everything, that the plan is that it would be mobile, that you could use it on an RV or carry it with you as you travel around the world.
It's definitely being tested right now. There's a variety of organizations
in Ukraine right now. Although, so Elon has sent some Starlink has adjusted it so that it could be used in Ukraine, and he sent a bunch of terminals. Although OPSEC people have said you might want to be careful about using those. The Russians are very good at using that kind of satellite data for targeting. So it might put a big target on your back. I mean, they know it.
You are giving up your information, your location. I mean, we've done stuff where we've had sat trucks up that we had to keep them up only for a short period of time because it would only take a half an hour to figure out where they were.
Oh, wow. Where the hell were you then? Was that Kosovo when you were back then in Kosovo?
It was southern Turkey.
Oh my gosh!
So
that's another story for another day. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When Alex talks about OPSEC, I just put the muffles over my ears so I can never be sworn to testify.
So southern Turkey, if you were going to project into a country from southern Turkey, you'd put a sat truck at the border there, and then but you wouldn't stay very long.
Right. Keep moving. Keep moving.
Exactly.
Do you think Apple, considering the world situation, might say let's not do an event March 8th?
Oh yeah.
I think that because you don't know what the news is going to be on March 7th. That if this gets a lot darker and a lot more hostile than even now, they're going to have to cancel anyway. And given that these are probably not things that need to be absolutely announced on March 8th, I wouldn't be surprised if they would simply say, you know what, we'll be at readiness to put this on 5 days notice, but this event is just 4 days old right now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, so it's a good thing to just be prudent.
Hey, Siri, when is Apple's event this spring? What? Did you understand that? Hey, Siri, when is Apple's event this spring?
You can get all the details about Apple events on apple.com.
That's not helpful, Siri. Hey, Siri, is Apple going to announce a new Mac Mini this spring? I'm not sure I understand.
She's sworn to secrecy.
If you ask,
the Mac Mini is dead to me. Dead to me, I say.
Yeah, let me try this one. This is from 9 to 5 Mac. Hey, Siri, what is going to be announced at the Apple event?
You can't hurry news. No, you'll just have to wait.
All right.
Okay, well, let's go for a little balance here. Hey, Google, when is the next Apple event?
Google's thinking.
Oh, nope. It says.
Here's what
it says Tuesday, March 8th, but not.
It's.
See.
It says Tuesday, March 8th.
You got to shave your eyebrows, Google.
No. Just it returned relevant information from AppleRumors.com.
Oh, yeah.
That was 2016, Google.
I don't suppose I should ask this Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. It just.
You're going to ask Viv?
Bixby. Bixby go, huh? What?
Bixby is just going to ask Google. It's like don't they have just a bunch of Google servers at Samsung and they relay the requests? Isn't that how that works?
Actually, iOS 15. You heard, by the way, that I am using. Now I called it American Voice number 3, but it has been revealed that it actually was an African American, a black person who recorded those. There's 2 black voices, one male, one female. It sounded pretty jaunty. I didn't know really what was going on. Now. Apple has gone to the LGBTQ plus community,
yay,
and come up with a voice that doesn't sound like anybody. It doesn't sound
less gendered, yeah,
less gendered. But yeah, well, let me play it a little bit because it's it sounds more, I don't know. But you've probably heard this, Renee. But I'll play it.
Yeah.
It's very short.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Yeah, I guess it's neither male nor female. It sounds like it might be Legolas from the Lord of the Rings. It sounds like an elf, maybe.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
That, by the way, is the voice I will use.
It's whatever you
It's whatever you want.
Whatever it sounds like to you. Yeah.
And that's the voice I would use, because I don't think it should sound male or female, although I do like the jaunty American Voice 3. But whenever I send something or tell it to do something, it says, okay. It's very happy.
It's an advancement of the technology. Like they started off when Siri was the first really process of its kind, and that was the voice that was available. It wasn't just used for Siri. It defaulted to female in the US and male in the UK because a bunch of sat-nav companies or GPS companies had done research to say what the majority of people liked. Way back when.
Tom and stuff. Yeah.
And now it's evolved, and you have a choice of voices. And also, they really wanted to anthropomorphize it at the beginning.
I think that's
they modeled
a mistake.
Siri on Pixar.
Right.
But it was like that was to make it approachable, because we feared, not us, not the four of us, but a lot of people fear technology, and they fear like robots and Terminator and Matrix. And so Apple really wanted to wrap Siri up in like this candy little anthropomorphized Pixar package. And that helped it initially. But as the technology matures, as we become more mature, as we understand things better, it's kind of satisfying to have a degree of separation, because let's face it, like any of these assistants, Google's, Amazon's, they would all be fired if they were actual humans. So like if you give them just a wide plethora of the human experience to draw from, I think it makes them not only appeal to more people, but feel like more realistic to more people.
Yeah, it's these little touches that really put the cherry on the top of a piece of technology. Because you start off with, well, we can only have one voice because really that's the technology that we're limited to. We can't even have two voices. That's the limitations that we have. Then we get to levels of sophistication where we're going to have a different palette of voices. Google Assistant doing something that I'm not sure if that was planned or if that was just Google being very academic about things, where it's like, no, we're not going to give our assistant an actual like gendered name. We're just going to call it the Google Assistant. And to this day, I just checked just to make sure you have an option. You have options of like 8 or 9 different voices, but they're all identified by just a rainbow color. They're not like even given like, here is you tell us, you decide for yourself what this voice sounds like. And I think the next step is when we get sort of like a character creator sort of approach to this sort of thing, where now the voice models are so dynamic that you could basically say that every phone, it will create a voice for you that is unique to that phone and to your ear, so that to really lock in that personal relationship you have with this device. This isn't generic voice number 3. This is the voice that goes to Andy Ihnatko's iPhone, all the way to the point of being able to say, auditioning voices and saying, literally like generate 20 different voices, allow 5 of them to go through to the next round. And then like when it comes down to the last 2 or 3 that you like, say, I want that, but I want that to be a little bit more Northeastern in tone. I wish that this were a little bit less aggressive, but more like hard and this sort of thing. So this is the sort of thing that turns people from treating this thing like a gadget and a utility to a platform that they rely on to get stuff done that they really don't know what they do without.
It's an interesting debate, though, humanoid or not. You're arguing that it should be more like your neighbor's voice. Yeah, can't help you.
I think that you should get the voice that you want, and I think that it's going to be a very, very subtle but important leap forward when if someone does say hey Guillermo, and 4 different phones like respond on what the weather is, you'll get 4 different voices because 4 different people have unique voices on their phones.
I want
and
Morgan
accents.
Freeman.
There's a whole plethora of accents too.
Right, regionalisms.
Go ahead, Alex.
I just want Morgan Freeman.
I have Samuel L. Jackson on my Amazon Echo. That's pretty darn good.
Morgan Freeman.
Remember James Earl
Samuel
Jones
Jackson would be
on
good. Morgan Freeman would be great.
The more stately.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have mixed feelings. I don't know. I haven't lived with a robot voice long enough to know. Because nobody does a robot voice. Everybody wants it to anthropomorphize. It feels like it's a bad idea to anthropomorphize technology.
The thing is, we have been wired up we've been human beings as a species for 145,000 years, and our software is written to respond to certain cues and certain audio cues. And the idea of optimizing a synthetic voice so that it works with the software we have between our ears to understand that, hey, look, what I'm saying, this part of the sentence is something that's a little bit preamblage to get your attention, but the actual information is right here. Or this is not something that I'm just saying, I'm not saying, oh, by the way, there's this other feature you can enable if you want. This is actually a weather alert, or this is an appointment that you're about to miss if you don't hit it right now. So that's why we really do need to have that kind of sophistication in how well things work. The potential here is the creepy thing would be if we got to the point where I can, when you've lost a loved one, but you have lots and lots of video of them, samples of their voice, you can have a synthetic voice created to sort of duplicate what your mom's, your cousin's, your brother's voice sounded like, and make that like the voice of a speaking assistant. That's when things get kind of that's when you get into like the graduate studies class all about this topic, where it sounds very, very creepy. I certainly would never want to use something like that, because I would not want like my memories of my parents' voices to be corrupted by a synthetic version that doesn't quite sound like it. But nonetheless, for other people, if this is what helps them get through the mourning process and they use it for 9 or 10 or 11 months and then switch to something else, more power to them. But this is where we're going in this technology.
Less creepy than that. I mean, I know a lot of editors now use, I forget the name of the service. There's a service where you upload your video and it gives you a transcript you can edit based on the transcript.
Yeah, Descript.
Descript, yeah. And it can also deepfake voices. So if you didn't say something you needed to, you can add in a few words and it'll deepfake your voice for you. And some people just deepfake the entire thing as part of like the previs for their videos or their podcasts. And like you can tell it's not them if you know it's not them. If you don't know, it's really tough if it's not pointed out to you.
Well, and one of the futures of dubbing for movies is actually using deepfakes to have the folks impersonate that person and then have the AI just tighten it all the way up so that it sounds like Tom Cruise speaking in, French or whatever. It doesn't.
No spoilers,
it's not a
but
dub anymore.
ILM did that in a recent episode of something, and it did not sound good.
Yeah,
it was very uncanny valley.
Yeah, it's well, and ILM is still they're not using the deepfake technology. I don't think
they did for this. They pulled in all the stuff from the 1970s and they pushed it all through a machine learning model, and then they had that do the dialogue because the actor's way older now, and it was all like ebooks that they'd read and like speeches they'd given and other movies, and so it was the younger voice, but it had no not the right level of intonation for anything, so it sounded almost like it was crushed the entire way through.
Right. Interesting. Yeah.
Anyway, even who doesn't know when Apple's event's going to be, so whatever kind of voice it uses.
Tim knows.
I'm really thinking it's a mistake to anthropomorphize technology, that it leads us down a dangerous path, and that we should really...
Leo?
Yeah. We should continue to understand that these are machines. You're talking about in Dune,
the Butlerian Jihad, and then the thou shalt make no machines in the image of man.
That's right. That's kind of a backstory in Dune, is the war against the machines. That seems to be a very common trope in science fiction.
Yeah. Well, that's a warning shots, Leo. One day we get killed by the machines. We go up to the pearly gates and they go, we sent you Terminator. We sent you The Matrix. We sent you Dune. What are you doing here?
Yeah, we told you. I just feel like it would be good. I know our biology doesn't know about machines, but we have them now. We can adjust.
I do think that there's often a risk. We talk about this a lot around social media, in the sense that we have things that we're told, like we think in our frontal lobe that is true, and our lower brain goes, that's not true. Like, for instance, we think that social media is giving us a community. Like, we talk about communities a lot.
Yeah,
social media is giving a community, but it's not. And so that when the front says this should be a community and the back says this is not a community, this doesn't give me the fulfillment that I need, the gap between those two is depression. And so because our brain is pulling in two different directions, our front is working to make something true, and our back, our lower brain is going, this isn't what I came for. And I think that, to your point, that when we make things close but not all the way there, you end up with the situation where your brain is it actually creates some cognitive load of your brain constantly saying that's not I know it's not real, but I'm going to treat it as real.
I'm even more concerned. I mean, look at the bots on Twitter, for instance, the disinformation bots. Because we don't distinguish them from actual humans, we treat them like humans. We give them more credence than they deserve. So I'm not even concerned about the cognitive load of this. I'm concerned about kind of misunderstanding the universe because we're not making that distinction.
Well, Georgia explained it really well, too. She said that like the uncanny valley originated because back in ye old days of human evolution, people would get sick or like the reason we don't like the zombie movement or insectoid movement because it looks unnatural, unhealthy, and it's a warning sign that something is very wrong with that.
Something bad.
And we should stay away from it. That's why those Boston Dynamic robots send like the chill of destinies through and be like when you see them walking because nothing in nature should walk that way. So immediately every alarm bell goes off.
Well, it's a way, I mean, no one knows, but the evolutionary scientists think it's a way of avoiding illness and bad food. So if somebody's diseased, often that makes their behavior abnormal, and to protect, evolutionarily speaking, you want to kind of avoid catching that disease. You want to avoid them. And then if you ate something bad, actually Georgia was talking about this on Twitter on Sunday. I completely think that this is the problem with VR in general, is the distance between the focus distance and the convergence distance. If they don't match, then your brain says, yeah, that's wrong. You probably ate something bad. You should vomit it out now.
Yes.
And now, while we don't know for sure that that's what it is, but I think that's the case. And I think that's...
Yeah, inner ear and sight is a super important thing to keep aligned. We think about that all the time with VR or even really large movie screens like IMAX or something like that. If too much is moving and you don't have a point of reference outside of it,
you're just playing too many video games. Even with that, even if you're not wearing a headset, because your brain says you're not moving. Your eyes see movement, but your inner ear says, "Well, you're not moving." And that the dissonance between them is more than cognitive load. It's a sign something's wrong.
It's either that way or when the architects came and made us build the pyramids and stuff, we remember them. There's like some human history of our alien overlords, and now we don't want them back, so we resist anything that's like them.
I really wish that whole architect thing were true. I would really like that to be true. I guess we'll never know, or maybe we will. Maybe we'll find an artifact out there, and aliens will come back to Earth.
In search of.
So I just bought a bunch of accessories to go with my new Mac Mini.
Well, they're not going to go to. I mean, they don't have an expiration.
What did you get?
Well, a lot of stuff. Well, because I already have the 55-inch monitor. I'm still undecided on the KVM, so I fortunately didn't get a KVM, but I thought, sometimes that giant monitor's too much, so I got this Dell portable 14-inch monitor that I could put to the side, so I could have the Mac on that and then the Linux box on the big monitor, or swap them. And then, of course, I had to get a dock, so CalDigit has a new Thunderbolt 4 dock. It's back ordered, so I guess it's probably good that I'm not getting a new Mac Mini this next week. And but that looks really good. The TS4, we were talking about that last week, I think, with Doc Rock. And so
I so need more Mac Minis, and I'm just like dying to not
I know
buy them. I'm like, I go to the store and I'm like, oh no, I can't do that yet. I have to wait.
I know.
I have to wait.
So this is the TS4. It's really as much for a laptop as anything. And then
the one that's really nice also is the one that's the OWC that's the same size as the Mac Mini. It sits right underneath it.
Yeah, maybe I'll get that. Yeah. And then actually, this was going to be my my pick of the week, but I'll give it to you now. This is for the laptop because Lisa also. So I told Lisa, where is it? It's this one, the 18-port hyperdrive dock thing that you put your laptop on. They just started shipping that. Lisa wants to. It's in her mind to. She has an old iMac, and at first she was going to use her M1 laptop, the old 13-inch, and then I realized, I can't do two monitors on that. And she wants a lot of monitors. She has a 49-inch monitor, and she wants to replace the iMac monitor with another one. So I did go out and get a monitor for that. And then I realized I can't really very easily. I don't want to put a driver on there to drive, but the new HyperDrive dock, she could put her laptop on that and drive two monitors without additional software. Anyway, and then I said, oh, you know what? Let's just get you a Mac Mini. So, I don't know.
They're amazing little machines.
I think we're really, I'm just really...
They went from being, again, they just went, that's why I'm so interested in waiting to see what happens next, but is that they went from these like little pieces of glue to actual working machines that we can actually use with the M1. And so I'm really excited to see the next one because, a lot of us, I don't know, a lot of us, I have a lot of monitors. And so a laptop just gets in the way. And so it's great to have these little computers off on the side that do the things.
Yeah. And it also is nice for me because I have a PC and a Mac and I want to have both. And anyway.
Right.
Anyway, I guess I can wait.
It's hard.
So you think I'm really mad at Putin? You think that now that's a bridge too far? That Apple's putting off their event because of this invasion of Ukraine?
Well, I mean, it's not always a week before. Back when they were physical, it was more than a week, and last year it was between 6 and 7 days.
So it could be that they're
tomorrow,
still doing it on March 8th, and they just haven't. I mean, they don't have to give us a week heads up. They could tell us on Monday.
They could send out a push notification the same day. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, come on over.
We're dropping some hot new merch today, kids.
Hot new merch. What?
Yeah. All the stuff has been shot and edited by now.
Yeah.
I mean, close to by now. But yeah, God, it would be now it's going to be like buying shoes or buying concert tickets. It's like, oops, or graphics cards. Like, sorry, bots already snapped up every single Mac Mini.
Oh, please don't do that to me. Please don't do that to me. All right, let's take a little break. We do have other news to talk about, including, of course, Apple's response to the Ukrainian invasion. Talk about that in just a little bit. What a world we live in, huh? What a world. Okay, deep breath. Center. Our show today brought to you by Wealthfront. You know, when the world events are like this and shaky, you kind of go, and if you're doing the, diamond hand stonks thing, okay, more power to you. But even on billions last week, they said, oh, day traders never make any money. There is a way to build wealth, and I love this idea. It's these days, there's a million investment apps. You can start trading like this. But just because it's easy to do doesn't mean you know what you're doing or your social network knows what it's doing or somebody on Reddit knows what you should do. It's easy to invest, easy to grow your savings, a diversified portfolio, which will balance if you want to play a little bit your other riskier bets. Wealthfront makes it easy. You start investing in no time with Wealthfront's classic portfolio, or look at this. You can customize it with things you care about, healthcare, socially responsible funds. That's very popular. I think a lot of people say, I want to do a socially responsible fund, but don't know where to start. Wealthfront's got it all put together for you. You want to invest in technology without investing in individual stocks? Wealthfront. Crypto? Sure. Crypto trusts, there are literally hundreds of investments. But here's the point. Wealthfront was designed by financial experts to help you turn your good ideas, your feelings into great investments without the hassle of doing everything yourself. And they do things that are fantastic. You don't want to spend hundreds of hours trying to lower your tax bill? They'll do that. They'll help you do that. Wealthfront is so good. They're trusted with $28 billion in assets, helping nearly 500,000 people build their wealth. All you need is $500 to get started. Grow your wealth the easy way. Let Wealthfront do the work for you. So easy to use. And they have a great app, by the way. 4.9 out of 5 stars in the Apple App Store. Just search for Wealthfront or go to wealthfront.com/MacBreak. In fact, do that because you'll get your first $5,000 managed free for life. To start building your wealth and get your first $5,000 managed free for life, wealthfront.com/MacBreak. Start building your wealth. WEALTHFRONT.com/MacBreak. Wealthfront.com/MacBreak. We thank them so much for their support. And you support us, by the way, when you use that address so they know you saw it here. Wealthfront.com/MacBreak. Check it out. Check it out. You owe it to yourself to do that. Let's see here. Let's see. Right now you can't use the App Store or the Google Store for things in Russia like paying for the subway. In fact, there's these huge lines now in the subway in Moscow because you can't use your iPhone to pay. because of the banks being sanctioned. I think in many ways Apple Pay no longer works. Should Russian Vice Prime Minister Mikhailo Fedorov said Apple should just stop selling iPhones, stop providing any services of any kind to Russian users. I appeal to you, he tweeted, stop supplying Apple services and products to the Russian Federation, including blocking access to the App Store.
That's probably not a great idea. As tempting as it is to additionally put the heat on the Russian government, the last time I looked into this, human rights organizations were saying that the thing is, if Apple, in an instance like this, if Apple were to shut down access to the App Store, access to all their products, you're also shutting down a communications tool that citizens would be using to shoot video, report on what's going on, communicate with each other, communicate with loved ones, and that's possibly going to do more harm than good. But there are things that they could be doing. I know that the Google Play Store removed access to the Russian state news site app RT off the. It's no longer available to users in the Play Store in the Ukraine, but that came at a direct request from the government, and that was essentially the Google Play Store complying with a legal request to pull down an app. So I don't know if Apple has done the same in the Russian App Store, but a lot of the stuff is not so much bravery so much as we have agreed to abide by laws and legal demands we are abiding by.
I think that Apple may want to get on the right side of this one. I mean, I think that that shutting down the stores, the physical stores, if there's, or anything that are not shipping any more stuff to them. I mean, I think that shutting down like iCloud or services, I think would probably be more, again, as Andy said, probably impact individuals more. But I think maybe even shutting down the App Store for now, taking the Russian apps off the platform, I think would probably be useful. I think that there's not. I mean, from Apple's perspective, unless Putin disappears, like goes 6 feet under in the next month, which is a growing possibility, there's not going to be an economy there for years. Like it's going to be, complete devastation for that economy, and it's not going to come back anytime soon. So there's not a lot to lose from a financial perspective. There's just an opportunity to stand with the right side of this one.
Wave the flag. Yeah,
because the Russians are totally screwed. Like it is like the Russian government is completely screwed, and the only way out is to get rid of Putin. And it's just a question of whether they're going to do that or not.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that normal Russians have to suffer, but that's.
They do have a government that's killing a lot of people somewhere else.
Yeah,
so we can feel bad about the Russians, but the Ukrainians are getting bombed.
Right.
And so the thing is that at some point somebody there has to do something decisive.
Yeah.
Because this is getting out of hand. And it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. They're starting to increase they haven't even used any of their real power yet.
Yeah, I know.
And so if everybody needs to do everything to try to keep them from doing that
this week.
So
right? Yeah.
So it's super important that everybody does absolutely everything financially. I mean, we should be stopping all gas, all oil, everything should be stopping right now because it could get a lot worse than it is right now. And I don't think Apple, again, has much to lose because there's not going to be anything left of the economy if they go much further down the path.
The ruble's a penny now.
Oh, you did see some countries saying, no, we don't want to stop the sale of luxury goods. We still need to sell luxury goods during all this.
Honestly, putting the squeeze to the oligarchs seems to me the shortest.
Their yachts are running, right? Yeah, the people are hunting down their yachts right now.
Get the yachts, because that's the shortest way to squeeze Putin, it seems to me.
Well, and again, we have to remember that we're also, companies are going to have to, in this social world and everything else, companies are going to have to start looking at how they look and where they are. And I think that this is a preview to Taiwan.
That's the thing. Do you think China's worried that they'll set a precedent because what they really don't, they can afford to cut off Russia, but can they afford to cut off China?
Well, I think I think American companies need to start really thinking about diversifying from China because Taiwan will be another country like Ukraine where China is going to try to take it over.
China's watching carefully. I agree.
And it will be very unpalatable to keep on running your factories in China if it's attacking Taiwan. And so I think this is a warning shot to all American companies that they need to start figuring out how to get out of China.
It takes time, doesn't it? I mean,
it does.
I think
and that's why they need to think about it now.
I think Apple has been thinking about it. They really want to diversify their manufacturing.
Yeah.
India, Vietnam, a lot of other countries have sensed an opportunity and are making very good offers to a lot of different companies. Apple, however, is the crown jewel. That if you get a contract for for worldwide manufacturing for Apple, you are going to get so much other business that it's going to jeopardize your ability to even fulfill your Apple contract. So they might be late to the game there, but yeah, it's hard to know where to draw the line in a lot of these circumstances. I mean, I'm very, very surprised at how quickly the temperature of the room changed and how quickly a lot of people who are operating on a national, international level had to read the room and respond accordingly when we have other military incursions, other military actions, other mass slaughters that have gone, oh, well, geez, that's an interesting statistic and moving right along. So,
yeah, why do you think that is? Is it because Ukraine is kind of a European nation? We can kind of identify with them?
It's because I don't think anyone thinks that this is the first thing that Russia's going to. This is not the last thing Russia's going to do. I think that's what everyone's worried about.
There is a real nasty streak of these are white civilized Europeans that a lot of the countries, a lot of the presidents, all the news coverage, like it's terrible invasion, but people are using it as an opportunity to commit a supremacy at the same time, which is hugely distasteful.
Yeah, no, I agree. There is, of course, the threat of nuclear war, which is hanging over our heads now, thanks to Putin. Oof. Anyway, we're not here this is beyond my pay grade to talk about
exactly.
all of this.
Yeah, me too.
But I think it is something Apple's probably discussing a lot right now internally.
Yeah, such big markets for them.
Yeah. It just goes to show politically or non-politically, they put so much of their success in one country. It doesn't matter like what the political situation is in that one country. It was an interesting thing to see that Apple really didn't seem to have a plan. Excuse me. They weren't demonstrating a plan B for what happens if everything goes south. And we've already seen the difference between China in 2009 and China in 2012 was already night and day. There was a blessed period up until the current president came in that said that, well, this is a relationship that's going to continue to blossom, continue to be beneficial, continue to work out really, really great. It seems as though everybody has had 10 years of notice that says that this could go very, very bad very, very quickly. And if we're relying on one provider of these services, we could wind up in a very, very touchy situation.
Russian authorities last week warned Google, Meta, Apple, Twitter, TikTok, and others that they had until the end of the month, which I guess is over now, to the end of February, I guess, to set up legal entities in the country. This is the authoritarian move. Well, you have to have offices here, so we have somebody we can throw in jail.
Well, I think the timing of that was probably not
accidental.
Very well. I don't think anybody's interested in making any more agreements with Russia at this point. Yeah. So
the landing law makes the companies and their employees more vulnerable to Russia's legal system and the demands of government censors, legal experts, and civil society.
Like the problem with this stuff is that there's so much nuance to unpack here, and for example, data repatriation and making localized versions of companies, like we see the extremes of those in Russia and China, but a lot of European countries want that too. They either don't trust U.S. servers, they don't like U.S. laws because they have a very different idea of what government should or shouldn't be responsible for. Like France and Microsoft have been arguing about data repatriation for a long time already, and it's a big problem. Like it's something that a lot of countries feel like they don't have control over their own citizens' data, and that's not an unreasonable thing, but it's often fronted by unreasonable activity in Russia and China. And at the same time, Apple has this policy of relentless engagement. Like they believe they can't change something if not involved in it. But at what point does that become support? Like and Andy and I have talked about this for a long time. We've all talked about this for a long time. It's an incredibly fine line that you have to thread those needles, and we've seen Tim Cook do that in China for years. I don't have the same knowledge of what Apple's been doing in Russia for years. But as we become we were this big international internet, and now it feels like it's being broken back down into national laws, national borders, very different and opposing laws, often in the EU and the US. And it's going to be incredibly complicated. And I think it's going to be worse when it's in Europe, because there's no like, oh, that's Russia, that's China. It's like, no, Italy wants to, or Holland wants to put Apple in jail because of dating apps, and it's going to be a much bigger conversation.
You remember the last in January, Russian authorities threatened to arrest Apple and Google employees unless they removed an app, the Navalny app, the opposition leader app. He's in prison right now. I think Apple complied. Apple says they have, in fact, complied with the landing law. This was before the invasion. Google has sort of complied. Let me see. There's a list in the New York Times of who has.
It's one guy in a rent share apartment, and boy, is he going to be in a lot of trouble.
Well, that poor guy. That's not a job you'd really want, is it?
Yeah. I know.
Apple, TikTok, and Spotify have complied, according to Roskomnadzor, their internet regulator. Google has taken steps. Twitch and Telegram have not. Meta and Twitter have complied with some parts of the law, but not others. So, meanwhile, they're getting pressure from the U.S. Congress. Senator Warner, chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, sent a letter to Russia, to Meta, Reddit, Telegram, and others, urging them not to let Russian entities use their platforms to sow confusion about the war. So they're facing it from both sides.
Isn't it amazing how the Ukraine Twitter account is fighting a war, an ingenious war of memes at the same time?
Well, this is
against the disinfo.
Warfare has changed entirely, right?
Yeah.
And even in 20 years, and the tech companies have a huge role in this. You know, Google Maps was being used to plot Russian troop movements. There is absolutely a disinformation battleground or an information battleground going both ways on these social platforms like TikTok and Twitter and Facebook. It's just fascinating. It's very
there's a lot of change could change everyone's perceptions. Like that was one of the earlier concerns about TikTok's. The algorithm is so good, and it wasn't under U.S. control, that if anybody wanted to suddenly change perception of Hong Kong or Taiwan, it's a very small algorithm machine learning model change.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All I was going to say is that, a war like World War II couldn't have happened, with social media, because, the things that happened there and the number of civilian casualties would have been something that people couldn't handle, and
that
so
may
I
be
think
one of the reasons that we're seeing such opposition, right? Is we're seeing it. I mean, I remember in Vietnam, that was the first TV war, and that really did stimulate a lot of resistance to Vietnam in the United States, because we were seeing the boys being.
I mean, we're having counts. I mean, and it's horrible that we're having counts, but I think that it's progress that we are upset about 500 or 300 or people dying or 10 people dying on a missile attack. 50 years or 70 years ago or whatever, we killed 100,000 people in a day.
Yeah,
and that was somehow okay. And I think that it is important to look at the fact that we're more connected and more,
it makes us more human.
That we can start saying, hey, this isn't. That these smaller numbers make a big difference.
Yeah. We all know people. We have listeners in both Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah. So some of the most powerful imagery that comes out of these conflicts is when you see mass protests in Russia calling Putin a jerk. In a country where that has life-altering consequences, it makes it difficult for a populace to be manipulated into thinking that Russia is a mass organism focused towards fighting NATO and claiming territory that they think that they have rights to, even though they historically have not had rights to this thing. So when you see that any regime is fragile, it will basically move people's emotions and hopefully in the right direction. Unfortunately, it also moves those leaderships in a very poor direction when they see how close they can come. When you've drawn a line in the sand and said the only way that I'm leaving this presidency is feet first, you get enough people together to say we'll take you up on that offer, and that leads that person to do some very, very strange and awful things.
Right.
Okay, let's change the subject. Jim Dalrymple retiring. This is a huge story everywhere.
I know.
Our great friend, the man with the beard, who for how long? Jim was at he was at Mac Central in '94. He says
I
at
am
Mac
sure
World
he covered
in '99.
the Apple One launch. I'm positive in some way he covered the Apple One launch.
He started his own publication, The Loop, in 2009. So he was one of the early guys doing it independently.
30 years.
Yeah. So The Loop, I guess, continues. He says, after 30 years of reporting on Apple, I am retiring. one of the stimulating factors. He's getting married. Congratulations, Jim.
Yeah.
His fiancée, Erica, has accepted a job in Austin, and so they bought a house on 5 acres of land outside of Austin.
She's wonderful. She's so good for
Do you
him,
know
too.
Erica? Good.
Yeah,
good.
she's magnificent.
Yeah. He says, I'm looking forward to taking more time to play guitar. Haven't played much in the past couple of years. I'm going to fix that very soon. I will serenade the wildlife on my land with some Aussie songs. So they're getting married in May. Congratulations, Jim. It sounds like he's going to continue to do the Dalrymple Report podcast with Dave Mark. I don't know. He says if you currently pay for the loop, you could continue that to help support the podcast.
It's not going to be updated, but he's going to keep it.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm not sure about is when he moved from Canada to California, Heineken Canada almost went out of business. And I think Heineken US doubled its sales. But I don't know if they're prepared for like the West Coast Heineken branch to almost close and suddenly have like twice the capacity in Texas for him.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard.
I wonder how good his pour is. And have you been to the Heineken experience in Amsterdam?
No.
They have a whole pouring. They give you a whole. There's a whole pouring.
It's very important that you pour just right.
I think Jim just walks around with the keg like in one hand and a straw, and he just like holds the keg. I think.
Anyway, we wish you the best, Jim. You're just great. Well, since you're going to continue podcasting, we'll definitely get Jim on the show more often.
And he's cooking now, he said. We can get him right in the kitchen.
Pasta and sauces. Yeah, you should have him on your weekend cooking office hours.
I know. We should have him show us something.
I want to know how Jim's how he makes his sauces.
I'll show you how to make Tim Hortons.
Yeah. So.
What a legend. What an icon.
Yeah. Kind of a, I think I admire him. Retiring is a hard thing to do. It's a scary thing to do.
I just imagine it being like the opening scenes in Unforgiven, where he met a good woman. I ain't like that. I ain't like that no more. Yeah, but all these people are talking this crap. I ain't like that no more. Your mother, God bless her soul, put me on the right street.
I love it.
Like Old Man Logan, Andy.
He's going to go blow away a saloon at some point. Wow, I never even thought of that. Yeah, we'll see.
They said they wrote that the iPhone is a dead-end technology that doesn't innovate.
No.
They put up a billboard, grabs the Heineken bottle.
When his work was done, he rode back from whence he had come, and he was Jim.
Prospered in soft goods.
We love you, Jim. Congratulations. Congratulations on getting married, making more time for yourself. I think you're doing the right thing. I think that's great.
Come back and visit because we will miss you.
It's hard. I think all of us will attest to the fact that basically writing every day for the loop is a hardship. It's a burden. Yeah. It's like you, Renee, having to make a video every day. Yeah. So, Jim, you should have just done what I did, which is hire a bunch of people and then let them do the work. And then I just sit here now in my chair.
He did that for a while. He had like three, 4 writers, I think, on the loop for a while. And then, yeah, and also it's like it is still a hamster wheel because you've got to make sure everything's running and operating.
You just actually what it does is it just changes your job to something else entirely. Yeah. I have signed up and downloaded it, but it's not working yet on my Mac, but it will, I'm sure. Amazon's Luna streaming gaming service has now launched in the U.S. The idea, much like Microsoft's xCloud and Gaikai and the NVIDIA GeForce Now and all of these services, the idea was, I guess Google's Stadia as well, let the games run on our servers and you can play them on anything. Luna will play on Android, iOS, Chrome OS, Mac OS, and Windows. The Luna Plus service has 100+ games, $10 a month. There's a kid-friendly family channel for $6. If you like Ubisoft, there's an Ubisoft Plus channel for a whopping $18 a month. But if you're an Amazon Prime member, there are some free games you can play right now. Play free with Prime. There's what they say a rotating selection of games on the Prime Gaming channel, and then probably games nobody will want to play. And then you can, if you sign up right now for Luna Plus, you can get it founder pricing. They say for life of $6 a month. So
It's not free with Prime. That's interesting.
Well, there is some free with Prime, but not much. It's these rotating. Let me see what the games are. You can play them kind of.
Prime just went up by. It's had its first big price hike.
Yeah. You can play in the browser, but not. But it has to be Chrome or Safari. It's going to be another way to sell Fire TV and Fire tablets. By the way, I'm sure that's part of all this.
Yeah, I keep trying to figure out exactly who's. I haven't seen consumer stats on this, on who really is going in on this, because it seems as though you're looking at it. You're looking at an intersection between someone like me who wants to, who enjoys top tier titles at a distance, but is not willing to spend $500 or $600 on a console if you can get them from scalpers, or a couple of $1,000s on a gaming PC. But it seems as though a lot of the people who are going to appreciate those really in-depth games are going to be the ones who are excited about getting the new Xbox, excited about getting the new PlayStation. So it's and you have a lot of these people that are like, how many? They're actually putting sensors on the screen to figure out what is the latency between when I pull this trigger and when I see something go boom on the screen. And those are the people that are absolutely going to savage streaming platforms. It's like Apple Arcade is a great idea because it really goes towards the soft part, the soft underbelly of gaming. People who are easy to please, who have low demands, and they just want to see lots and lots of churn. They'll be into a game for a couple of weeks and then be on to the next one.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Google basically has, I think, abandoned Stadia.
They Googled the ball.
They Googled it.
Yeah. It's like I'm sorry that the Google is a verb that they've earned completely through their own efforts. One, on making a masterful search engine, and also figuring out how to come up with a big splashy product and then say, not so much about a year later.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the hard part there for Google specifically is that it's just so hard to get people to now jump on, because you just don't know how long it's going to last.
Yeah.
You know, there's a part of it that you have to stick with it, even if it's not working. You have to stick with it a bit longer, because you know it used to be that people would jump onto stuff that Google was doing. Then you had to do it. You had to prove that you're going to do it for a certain period of time. But so many people have lost their shirts trying to take advantage of a new Google product that I think it's just really hard to get early adopters and then get any adopters. So that's the real problem.
Even with things they're supposed to be good at, like cloud-based messaging, it's like, God, if you can screw that, how many times did they screw that up?
The things that Google has something. I mean, Google has a handful of things that pay for everything else, all the goofy stuff like YouTube and ads,
search ads. Really, I mean, they can't lose with search ads, so they can afford to do a lot of dumb things.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I mean,
Facebook is funnier
ads,
because they just don't ship. They hired the second guy in charge of Android and one of the best designers ever at Apple to make a phone. Never shipped the phone. They did it again within the second phone project. Never shipped it. They just canceled their Meta OS. They get to they're like Google, but they learn how to cancel faster, I think.
Yeah, I think that you want to. Apple cancels stuff and no one even knows it existed. Like it didn't, it was. I've talked to people that no longer work at Apple that have said, and they won't even tell me what the products were, but they were like, there were products in there that I would have bought. I would have paid 3 times what we were planning to charge for it, and it would have been amazing. And he goes, and then we canceled it because there wasn't, for whatever reason, it wasn't going to turn the corner.
So to spread the malice around, Apple is like that frustrating chess player that always keeps their finger on the piece. I haven't gone yet. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm pulling this piece back.
Yeah.
No, I think that's Facebook. I think Apple's the one who stares for so long. You want to get up and smack them. They just stare and they don't touch the piece. Facebook has their finger on the piece and they're moving it around. And Google's just like, oh. No, and then they throw the table.
So the reason I mention this, I mean, I know it's an Apple podcast, is because, one of the raps against Macintosh all this time has been, it's a bad gaming platform. But increasingly, you don't really need to have a gaming platform. You can just play in the browser. So,
but the nerds want the platform, Leo. The nerds want they want to play Elden Ring on the metal. That's the nerd experience.
I admit, and I don't like using Windows. I have only one machine that plays Windows, but that's where I had to install Elden Ring 60 gigabytes later.
Says every Mac nerd ever.
Yeah.
that's just
yeah. Which too bad, but I guess it's, I don't know. I mean, I'm playing now, and this is in a Chromium browser. I am playing one of the free-to-play games. This is called Fogs. I guess I'm a wiener dog. I don't know what's going on. Oh yeah, there's my. I've got. Oh geez, this is almost filthy. What's going on here? Oh, it's like a snake game, kind of. I guess.
Is this the new Pokemon they just announced, Leo? I'm very confused right now.
It feels like it. I don't know. Oh, something's happening.
Is this the Suyin region?
Yeah.
I mean, the reality is, though, is that, casual, if you look at like mobile gaming now is, I think it's something like almost 60% of the market. Like it's, consoles are.
So Apple Arcade's $5 a month, right? So this is $6 a month if you sign up right away. So you could. I mean, I'm playing this on Linux, which is, not normally considered a. Well, this is probably about all I'm going to be able to play. I guess I have to figure out how to wake this guy up. I don't know.
You have to use Chromium for this, Leo?
Yeah, I had installed Chromium on Linux, and then it said, "Well, I don't know. Yeah, okay, you can play it, but we won't be happy."
Isn't it amazing that when they first forked WebKit, they had to say WebKit like Gecko for support, and now nobody wants to support Gecko anymore. Like you basically had to use it as a compatibility layer, and now nobody wants to support it.
Nobody wants to
Everything
support it.
changes.
It's all Chrome now. So this is playing fine. The frame rate's fine. I'm on a very, very fast network. At home, I tried to play. There is a DMG file you can download, which is probably just a browser window for Mac OS. But it was complaining about my internet, even though I have plenty of internet. So, all right, I'm gonna exit out of this. There is a Amazon controller you may or may not want to buy. It says you can play all of these games on the keyboard. You could see I wasn't having much success doing that. Are you sure you want to quit Fogs? Yes. I am sure I want to quit Fox. I can't even figure it out. I need a kid to help me with that game, I think. So anyway, it's out. Just everybody's doing it now. All the cool kids are doing it. I think you're right, Andy. I think really the market Apple cares about and has and owns is casual gaming, and they're fine with that, right?
Yeah, as long as they're open with third parties, as long as they make their platform available to streaming, that's fine. I think they're always what they love to do is not to necessarily be the most popular platform, but to be the most popular platform with the people who brought the checkbooks.
Right.
And so they'll take the money of people who want to put all the effort into launching their own streaming gaming platform. They'll take the money of the people who just want to play Tetris with a rock beat to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still going to be this way, but before the world ended and I was flying every week, almost every time I was on a plane, I would walk up and down the aisle and see people with giant iPads just playing Candy Crush, multiple people per airplane.
No.
It was so ubiquitous, and that's what the gaming market they had was.
And I think they own it. Mac is not, though. I have to say, a lot of PCs are sold for gaming. There's no reason a Mac couldn't be a gaming platform. That game we were just playing was Unity. So you could put that on a Mac, I guess.
Yeah, the market share doesn't, like the iOS, the market share totally supports it, and they do a lot of really interesting games.
Not enough Macs.
No one wants to make a metal port of, Horizon Zero Dawn and set up on the Mac.
Aspire is still around. That's the company that for years was best known for porting PC games over to Macs. They're still a going business. Let's see, they have Knights of the Old Republic out. Civ 6, which I am playing on a Mac. You can play
like going through a time capsule.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? It's older stuff so much. Yeah.
It's nothing the Twitch streamers are playing, Leo.
Should Apple pursue a gaming strategy? They go back and forth on this.
Well, they have a gaming strategy.
Yeah, actually they have a very good one, don't they?
Yeah,
they're content with what they've got, I guess. I meant a kind of AAA desktop PC Mac gaming strategy.
It's just
less money, more work.
Right.
Yeah. It's a shrinking market. I mean, the mobile and the casual game market is the one that's kind of taking over.
I'm not sure that's true. I think
it's over 60% of the market.
Yeah, but I don't think that desktop gaming is a bad market. It's bigger than Hollywood right now.
It's not a bad market. I'm just saying that if you have the mobile market, or if you have a big chunk of the mobile market,
right.
and those things, I mean, building I think that the other thing is the Apple TV is capable of a lot more than we're still seeing, even with most of the games.
So Apple's got still plenty of headroom before they need to look at something else. Yeah.
When they add the horsepower to do high frame rate 8K, they're going to have a horsepower to do any kind of game. Like it's yeah. So and I don't think I think that game quality is really important over top of necessarily the really high rendering. And I think that I think that the big thing is that there's a need to make a game really playable. And then a need to, I think somewhere in the future, someone's going to figure out how to make it broadcastable. I mean, I know that they broadcast games, but they're really hard to watch. It's like, I know the gamers like watching them, but for an average person watching them, they're convoluted and complicated and don't make any sense. I mean, eventually we'll see games that are really designed, not like Overwatch, but I mean, like really designed for broadcast. And we haven't seen that yet.
They figured out how to broadcast chess and poker. They'll do that with video games.
But again, those are broadcasted, but they're not like football, or soccer. Or,
but I think esports could be. I mean, it's a lot more action.
Oh, and I completely, when they move to an arena, which is what all the other big games do, the physical games are in a, for 2,000 years, we've gone to see people clobber each other, in a big round area where we're all watching. And I think that, I don't think that it's going to change that much.
Let me show you the arena that Dota 2 had in one of their big events. This is the International Dota 2 games.
No, and they can definitely fill an arena. It's just can they do it every week? Like this is sports. We oftentimes get excited about esports, and I think that to be honest, I think esports is going to replace regular sports. So I'm not saying that it's not going to happen.
I think this was about to break out, then COVID hit. So we don't know. This was May 2020, $10 million prize. This is a giant arena they filled with Dota 2 fans. These are the players down here. That's the only thing is I don't know how compelling it is to sit and watch that, but they.
And again, I think that the issue is how much do they pay for the tickets, and how often could they do that? And I think that if they get the right game, they could do it all the time, or maybe they don't need to even do it in an arena. I mean, but they can broadcast it. But right now, I just find that when I watch them, I'm like, this is, It's great for gamers. It's not a great broadcast experience.
They need better play-by-play people, and maybe it could be. They need to turn people onto the game. If you know the game, it's very engaging, I'm told.
Yeah, no. That's why you get have the high average view times and everything else. But the thing is that what you need is to have real camera systems, and you need to have real commentators.
They've got to work on that.
You can't be driving the cameras around with your mice, and not have it all just attached to some person running through. And all of those things could be done. I mean, a lot of us have worked on things like this for a while. It's all possible to put extra game engine systems in there. It's just that no one really, the gaming companies don't really get it. And so you're just kind of constantly trying to explain, it's
really
around for
looking
kids.
at it. I think people are really looking at it. This is, that's one of the reasons Microsoft just bought Activision Blizzard. I think that there's the feeling is out there. This is $1 billion business if we could just figure it out. This is
it's already $1 billion business.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the esports side of it. Yeah. This is the Rogers Arena, 19,000 people for Dota 2.
Yeah. I think it's the future.
Rogers?
Huh?
Is that the Rogers in Canada, Rogers?
Toronto.
Oh, wow.
I think that's where Rogers is, right?
Again, I think it's the future. I think it's the future. I just think that someone's going to have to crack a code. Because 19,000 is great, but the Steelers fill 70,000 every week. Every week that they play. I'm just saying that at incredible prices, and it's sold out for a decade. So the thing is that's
it wasn't that long ago though that it was easy to get tickets to an NFL game, and there wasn't a Super Bowl yet.
Well, not
those things.
Not in Pittsburgh. It hasn't been that way for 30 years. But I think that esports they're able to show these great things, but. When you talk to sports folks, it's kind of like when we talk about streaming, when we talk to broadcast folks are like, well, we would if we had less than 5 million people watching, we would cancel the show.
It's not worth it.
So you have to realize that they're at a different scale, and again, I think esports is the future. I think eventually that's mostly what we'll watch, but what will take it from where it is now to that thing is a actual viewable game.
No, I agree. I think we're waiting for the killer game. League of Legends, Dota 2, these MOBA games are very popular.
They're just complex to watch.
I think
All of
Fortnite,
them
you
are
can watch
in the
Fortnite, it's
metaverse,
fun.
and Mark Zuckerberg is going to be the orc in the Blood Bowl. He's going to be the lead orc in the Blood Bowl, and we're all going to sign up to watch him fight against Adam from Instagram. It'll be amazing.
So 6 weeks.
No, Leo, before we go on, can I
Yes.
just tangentially? Did you order a Steam Deck? I was just curious.
I am on the list. I haven't gotten my invitation yet. The only thing I'm excited about Steam Deck for is it's running Arch Linux, which means that a lot of games, a huge number of games from the Steam library will be ported over to Linux, so I can run them on my nice Linux gaming machine. That's all I really care about.
Linux with benefits.
I think it's a very interesting device. I mean, obviously the Nintendo Switch, which is roughly the same, it's the same screen size and a little smaller, but roughly the same idea anyway, has done so well. Especially during COVID, the Switch has been a real go-to device. So, yeah.
I'm so tempted by the Steam Deck. As a guy who's just said I'm into casual gaming, I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on a device. It seems as though we've all been there, where you can tell when someone a tech company has a new product or a new thing that say, "Oh, this is the future of the company, and we've really thought about this, and we're really invested in this, and we think this is going to be a revolution." And you're like, "Yeah, okay, 50% discount, discounted 20% 2 weeks after release, discounted 100% 2 years after release." But the Steam Deck, it really seems as though they've really thought out how to make a platform for a lot of really cool things, and I'm pretty excited about it myself, especially at that price point. Good heavens! I wonder how much profit they're making on each. I wonder what the bill of goods was.
Probably minus money.
Yeah.
I'm just checking in. Oh crap! They have a very old phone number. I put down whatever the $100 deposit or whatever. I was just checking to see where I am in the reservation queue. I mean, I have to buy it, right? Because
for work.
George's husband's ordered one. I think his is coming Q2.
Do it for the kids.
Yeah, they just started.
I need a Windows PC in the office because for balance.
Well, that's why I have a.
Okay, so
that's why a lot of
PowerPoint.
people are.
It's like if you were to have like a bar graph of how much Linux and how much Windows. It's this much Linux and it's this much Windows. I gave Windows a few hundred gigabytes, which I'm regretting now because Elden Ring fills it entirely. So it's
They got
basically
an SD card, and apparently it's not terrible off the SD card.
yeah. So we'll see.
I think that's why a lot of people are waiting to see if Apple actually does announce their own game controller or some sort of game thing for iPad that would turn it into more of a console. Like you just plug it in and it becomes more of a console. I know there's third-party ones, but if Apple starts making moves like that and they start, especially as they get into VR, and VR is going to have a much bigger gaming focus, just if they could complete that pipeline, I think people will that's when we'll start to, I believe it when I see it, basically, with Apple. And those are sort of the things that I'm looking forward to see how they go with gaming.
Yeah. It is week 5 of the standoff between Apple and the Dutch dating apps. 5 million euros every week, up to a total of 10 weeks. Apple has written a letter to R. de Rouge, Authority, Consumer and Market in The Hague. Dear Mr. de Rouge, this is from Apple's Chief Compliance Officer, Kyle Andier, explaining why what we've done is the only way to do it. For one thing, to ensure that our app is compliant with Dutch law and that it does not apply Dutch law outside of the Netherlands, Apple had to ask developers to submit a separate binary for the Netherlands storefront if they intend to use a payment service other than IAP. What else could we do? We had to do it. This is the same approach Apple and developers use in jurisdictions where there are unique legal issues. This is not costly or difficult for a developer. Dating apps are familiar with this process and, in fact, engage in it voluntarily. It's not simply possible, but common for a developer to do that. Apple believes this solution is fully compliant with Dutch law. We take these obligations very seriously. I understand that we have a difference of opinion that may ultimately have to be resolved by a court. I hope we can find a mutually agreeable solution that will allow us to stop paying you 5 million euros a week. Anyway, they make their case.
I still love that this is over dating apps.
Dating apps. Yeah.
Those are just that's just the company that actually raised the lawsuit, and basically if they find a way to settle this, then I'm sure that everybody else is going to dogpile in as well. But yeah, every time we introduce this topic and we're talking about Dutch dating apps, I'm thinking about, is that the way that Apple's getting out of paying taxes on iPhones?
We'll go Dutch on those taxes. That's it. You take half.
Or is that a reverse? Yeah,
it's a reverse Dutch sandwich. The Markup had an article on the location data industry and how location data brokers are getting around restrictions from Apple and Google. It's a $12 billion a year market of companies that buy and sell location data from your cell phone, entirely legal in the U.S. However, of course, as you know, Apple would like to stop that. They cracked down on the SDK, but there's nothing you can do about first party, and so the Markup is explaining how information is being collected by these apps, and the apps get around it in their privacy policy. You know, Apple's policy requires apps to disclose what data they're collecting and how it can be used and get consent, but it doesn't require the apps to disclose exactly who they're selling the data to. So the apps say in the privacy policy, we may share data with partners to improve your experience.
As always.
As always. The Markup was the same publication that uncovered the fact that Life 360 was selling location data to a dozen location data brokers in 2021. So it appears that people are still doing it. They're still getting around it.
I still think that what we're watching Apple do, I don't know about Google, but we're watching Apple do a slow constriction. Like doing it all at one time just creates a whole bunch of new fights, you know. Yeah. But they're going to just slowly pull it all in, and I think that it's going to become more and more private and harder to do over time. But they're just not pulling all the strings in all at one time.
Yeah. So just, you know, it's going on still, and these companies are basically sleazy companies are, you know, using weasel words to get around it. You know, Apple could stop it. They'd have to watch the data coming and going into these apps.
If we have a third-party app store, they cannot stop it.
Right.
Like you can kiss
That's
that
a good
goodbye.
point.
Like you can kiss all your privacy and all of your location data. You can kiss it goodbye if there's external app stores. Like it's going to be gone.
Well, let me think. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Just because the payments go through somebody else, the app still has to reside on the iPhone and still has to do all of the things that Apple requires.
No, if it's an no, yeah, but what our fine Congress is proposing is to force Apple to have other app stores on the app, and if that happens, you won't have any of those protections.
That doesn't mean that's not
other
true.
apps, other app stores. Yeah, that's what.
Okay, so let's say I buy an app from a third-party app store. It still has to run on the iPhone, and it still has to adhere to Apple's policies on the iPhone, regardless of where I purchased it.
So we'll see. I don't think so.
Of course so.
Because it has the information. It has that. It's going to get that information, and it has to be treated as a first-party citizen. That's according to that law. They cannot. They according to that.
I think it's all about payments. It's all about payments. It's not about. Look, once the app is running on an Apple device, Apple controls what can happen to that. You know, what data comes and goes, what entitlements. It's still going through Apple's API. I'm sorry, Alex. You're really. That's a straw man argument. That's a completely straw man argument.
You should read the law. You should read the law. Like the law is so painfully nebulous that it could absolutely be construed that they can have their own app store and Apple can't basically cannot constrict their ability. They have to be treated the same as they were on the other app store, which means they're not going to be able to do that. Apple's not going to be able to apply those rules to that app store.
All right, we've had this argument before. It's okay. Maybe Apple has great plans down the road to prevent this, but you should know your location data is being still sold without any particular restriction on Apple's part.
It's a cat and mouse game where the mouse has like $12 billion war chest to try and avoid the cat.
Yeah.
Apple is going to change its policy. Actually, before we do that, let's take a break and then we'll do that because we have a fine sponsor in the shape of ZipRecruiter. Hallelujah. People are hiring. People are going back to work. In fact, everybody understands that if you're going to get people to come back to work, you've got to make the workplace better for them. We did it. We just set up 4-day work weeks for our employees. According to ZipRecruiter, 90% of employers plan to make enhancing the employee experience a top priority this year. Yay. Yay. More money. That would be a start, right? Make your employees feel more valued. Get them involved in decision-making, focusing on company culture, offering learning opportunities, allow for more flexibility in work schedules. I think I saw a survey today that said 92% of employees in the United States would like a 4-day work week. We actually, I think the state of California required us to have a vote. So we did. We had a vote a couple of months ago, and it was unanimous. Yes, we want a 4-day work week. Now, you're doing the work to make your place a great place to work. Now, when you need to add employees, where do you go? ZipRecruiter. Right now, you could try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/MacBreak. ZipRecruiter's technology finds the right candidates for your job and then just presents them to you proactively, which means you can look at those candidates, say, oh, I like that guy, I like that gal, let's hire them, and invite them to apply. And research shows that when people are invited to apply, they apply. And they're much more interested in the job as a result. No wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site in the U.S. That's thanks to G2 ratings. Find the right employees with ZipRecruiter. Try it free. Our special address, make sure you use this now, ZipRecruiter.com/MacBreak. ZipRecruiter.com/MacBreak. It's gonna be a great year. Hire the best employees at ZipRecruiter, ZipRecruiter.com/MacBreak. Thank you, ZipRecruiter. We used them. In fact, I think John Ashley, we got through ZipRecruiter. Some of our best employees. ZipRecruiter.com/MacBreak. Apple will soon offer Face.
Oh, Leo.
Yes.
Did
you get an invitation?
Apple has halted. No, Apple has halted sales of online store in Russia, though.
Oh.
There you go. Nice. They listened to us. They were listening. They were working in real time.
Very interesting.
Sorry for the false alarm on the invitation. No, this is
you got me all excited. No, this is good. This is important.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's huge.
Mac Rumors and 9 to 5 Mac are both reporting it.
Yeah. Apple halts all sales in Russian online stores as Ukraine invasion continues. The Ukrainian vice prime minister that we quoted earlier in the show said, "Thank you, Tim Cook." When browsing through the Russian Apple online store, all of Apple's products are now reporting they're currently unavailable for sale. Oh, my gosh. Wow.
That was the right thing to do.
I think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Yeah.
They've did it before, apparently. According to 9 to 5 Mac, they paused sales in Turkey last year. In that case, because currency was going up and down and crazy.
So the ruble is having a bit of a week.
You could blame it on the ruble, yeah.
Yeah, there's stores there's reports that people who couldn't get to exchange their rubles, take out cash at ATMs, were taking their rubles and immediately buying any high ticket items like iPhones that they kind of want while there's still some value to them before they replace their stock, and now an iPhone will cost 10 times as much in local currency.
Wow. Well, that's a big story. Thank you, Renee. Thank you. Breaking news. I love it. Ramp up the pressure. Just, get into the streets. You did it before Russia. You could do it again.
Interesting to see what the crypto exchanges do, because they're getting some pressure too, and they're trying to explain the technical limitations to politicians who really don't understand the technology.
Well, in fact, I wouldn't even say it's a technical limitation. I would say it's part of the promise of cryptocurrency is that no government, no political situation can bypass it. But it does raise an interesting, if we've cut off Russia from all of the traditional financial markets, but they could still get payments in Bitcoin. The question is, what can they do with it?
But also, refugees are using it as a way to move their cash out of the country when no other feasible financial instrument works. So it's
I understand from a kind of philosophical point of view why if you're a cryptocurrency, you might say no, we have to be just as Switzerland said, and now has changed its tune. We have to be above the fray because that's the whole thing. Was we don't want a governmental interference.
When Switzerland stops being neutral,
That's a big deal, isn't it?
you probably need to
Yeah. You might
think
wanna
hard about it.
Rethink your life choices.
Rethink your life choices. I love it. I finally get this story. Apple will soon offer Face ID repairs without replacing the entire iPhone. I don't even care anymore. I don't even care. If you have an iPhone 10s, so there. If you have a 10s or later, you can replace the Face ID, that unit in the notch there, the True Depth camera. So you have to obviously be an authorized Apple repair facility, but you'll have access to the True Depth camera service part, which is all the camera modules, and you can now swap those in and out. I'm sure there is some sort of process for verifying it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, there's a lock process. I think one of the things that makes this stuff problematic, over time, is that we really don't just humans like us are not good with scale. Like when you talk to anybody who works at Apple or YouTube or Facebook, the simplest of things when you multiply it by 1 billion users of anything becomes really, really tough. And for Apple, just economically, it was easier to capture the device, give you a new one, and then send it to a depot and have that all done at massive scale. It's much less convenient. It's only efficient because they were doing so many at once, but they eventually broke down the process for doing other things in store. It's a way better customer experience. It takes time and it takes logistics and it takes a lot of maturity in the technology stack, and then they can start doing it. But we often just look at it and go, oh, they're being jerks. Sometimes they're jerks, but quite often it's just not incompetence is the wrong word, but it's just it's a tough technical challenge with a lot of technical debt, and it takes them a while to extricate themselves from it.
So this is the Mark Gurman expectations segment of our show. Not rumors, expectations. He expects 3 new Apple Watches. This is not news, really. We've been talking about this for a while. The Series 8.
They blog it, though, Leo. He says, I think it'd be great if Apple discounted the iPhone SE. And so do I, but suddenly it's on 4 blog sites.
An updated Apple Watch SE, already selling it. Makes sense to update it. And we had heard the rumor before that would be an extreme sports Apple Watch. So he says,
a Garmin competitor.
I think, probably. He does also say, I would not expect any major new health sensors this year.
Nope.
That's interesting. Because there have been a lot of rumors about that.
They keep buying companies that, the Apple's wanted to do a lot of these sensors for a long time, and they keep buying companies that say we're a year away, and so they buy them, and it turns out they're not a year away. They're as far away as Apple was, and and then of course it's a whole process to get them commercialized, and in some cases going through with the ECG, getting it approved on a country by country, health authority by health authority basis.
Yeah.
But they're trying. It's just going to take years still to get a lot of them.
This is a tweet. It's neither a rumor nor an expectation. It's an assumption. An assumption from Mark Gurman. Would assume, he says, that these would drop on March 8th. He's talking about new colors for iPhone cases. I mean, we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
It's interesting because the iPhone SE and the iPad Air could be just press releases. In 2020, the expectation was there was going to be a March Apple event, and then 2020 happened, and so the iPhone SE 2 was a press release. The updated MacBook was a press release. The iPad Pro with the A12Z processor was a press release. They changed everything. It became just a bunch of, well, look, they're up for sale now on Apple.com. I don't think an M2 could be that, and I don't think a new redesigned Mac could be that, or it would be a disservice to them not to have the story told. But there's a lot of things that Apple could do as press releases if they had to. If things get worse in the world, God forbid, but they had to start moving product.
Well, it's interesting because this tweet from Mark is from Sunday. So he's still saying March 8th as of Sunday. But you're right. They don't have to have an event if it's
so weird, though, Leo. He knows a date for the event, but he doesn't know which Macs are going to be in it. And, there's a lot of people know it, but, that stuff's all known. That was decided a long time ago. But it's interesting to know, who knows this but not that is such a read the entrails sort of an activity.
Well, I think that it's easier to know when the event is than what's in it, because in a lot of keynotes for a lot of different companies, the information is very closed. So you know that there's an event because there's a bunch of people that are setting up for it and getting ready for it, and so there's some movement there. But especially on one that doesn't have a live stage where you don't have to rehearse, that information can be kept very, very close to the vest for a very long time. And usually people working on those kinds of keynotes aren't even interested in knowing what it is. Like they don't like knowing what it is just visual material that you're now carrying around in your bag. And so they're willfully not interested in knowing what. I've worked on a variety of different keynotes for a lot of different companies where I was just as surprised as everybody that was watching.
Yeah,
I was there for a week or two. It was like I didn't know, I didn't want to know, I didn't have any interest in knowing.
2013 at WWDC keynote, I was sitting next to, I think it was Gruber, Dalrymple, and Snell, and in front of us were a couple really high-ranking Apple people, and that Phil Schiller's asked. Mac Pro gets put up on the screen, and they're like, "Oh my God!" And it's like they'd never seen or heard about anything. They were as shocked as anybody else that it wasn't anything that they were working on.
And again, in a company that's secretive, having information is not power; it's a liability. And so you don't want to have anything that you don't have to.
Well, and you don't want to share anything you don't have to because you can be pinpointed. That gives away your location.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like this idea, Michael Douglas as Ben Franklin. I always thought that Andy Anako would be the best Ben Franklin. I don't know why. Maybe it's a side.
Oh, yes.
The turkey is a noble source of sustenance for our forefathers.
You would be so good as Ben Franklin. Apple TV has apparently announced a Ben Franklin limited series starring Michael Douglas.
He's going to have to gain a lot of weight. Zach Galifianakis would have been better.
But also, you know what? In terms of having had lots and lots of indiscriminate sex, he's right up there with Ben Franklin.
Oh, there you go.
According to his autobiography. So
I didn't know.
I don't know.
It'll be based on a book which I actually have read for the first time called A Great Improvisation, which is a history of Ben Franklin's diplomatic visit to France. And it was quite a good book. So it'll be about Ben Franklin negotiating with France, I guess. Anyway, gives everybody a chance to practice their French. I don't know. What else? Skydance. What is it? What is the name of this? Skydance Studios.
Yeah.
Apple TV has apparently made a deal with Skydance, reportedly among the richest, according to 9 to 5 Mac, as the service builds out its movie catalog. This comes from Variety. Paramount Pictures partner, Skydance Media. Apple mega deal from Variety. Skydance's David Ellison scores one of the richest packs in Hollywood. Pretty good for a young man. What does Skydance have? Mission Impossible. The upcoming sequel to Top Gun. So apparently these will be exclusive on Apple TV Plus. I don't know. Released first there. The deal apparently, under the terms, guaranteed at least 2 fully financed feature films a year with budgets up to roughly $125 million, a guaranteed payout of up to $25 million per picture.
They also did the great movie Blush. Have you seen Blush?
No.
It's a short on Apple TV. It's really good.
Oh.
It's really, really well
From
done.
Skydance, huh?
Oh, man. It's a little animated film. It's a little animated short. It is so good.
Variety points out that this isn't such a huge amount of money, that Netflix paid $400 million for 2 movies in the Knives Out franchise. Lord of the Rings, of course, $1 billion just to buy the rights, and then they had to make
Ryan
it.
Reynolds and The Rock are probably getting huge, and Gal Gadot are probably getting huge amounts of money from Netflix too.
Yeah. But
I heard that the first season of the Lord of the Rings thing for Amazon was like $550 million or something like that. Which is pretty not pretty pricey for a
they
TV
paid
series.
$1 billion just for the rights.
Right. So, but the first season is like, I heard it was like $550
It looks
million.
good. You saw the trailer?
It's what the Silmarillion, right?
Yeah.
Silmarillion. Yeah, because it's funny. We're watching. It was on the Super Bowl or something, and we're watching. And as soon as I saw that giant statue of the guy, I said, "That's Lord of the Rings."
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
so this is going to be kind of an origin story.
It's a prequel.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, Power of the Rings, so many rings, rings, all the way down rings.
Interesting. No wonder this young man is so successful, David Ellison. He's the son of Larry Ellison.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm sure his dad gave him some good advice. Take this $1 billion and don't waste it.
He does, according to Variety, does not have to capitalize his own movies.
You don't have to ship, son. All you have to do is take people to the golf course and tell them you have a product. They'll give you millions of dollars.
I was going to say, you're doing very well, young man. I guess he has some connections. Ellison developed the Old Guard.
That was good.
Was it?
I liked it.
I enjoyed it.
I love her, but yeah. The Tomorrow War, which I did like, but I think was not well received. Those were both for Amazon, weren't they? For Prime?
Charlize Theron was Netflix.
I think they're both Netflix.
The Old Guard was
Tomorrow
Netflix.
War was
Tomorrow War
Prime.
was Amazon, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, tomorrow, yeah. Okay.
The Gemini Man, Ang Lee's costly flop. The relaunch of the Terminator series, Terminator Genesis and Terminator Dark Fate. So he does a lot of big science fiction-y things, I guess. Apple TV Plus also, I've been watching this news
Like
because
modern Carolco movies.
Yeah,
Remember
it's
those, like,
Carolco.
it was
Yeah. Terminator from Carolco. Yeah. Apple is apparently bidding hard for NFL football. And they're bidding against Amazon. It looks like the future of NFL Sunday Night Football, the Sunday Ticket, will be on streaming only next year, which is
Very
good.
terrestrial.
Which is the best. I mean, it is the Sunday Night Football is the best broadcast.
That's
of
the one you
football.
want.
That's where all the money is.
Bigger than
That's
Monday night. Bigger than Monday night.
Oh yeah, Monday night. Well, the team that used to do Monday Night Football, when they moved it to ESPN or whatever, the team that did Monday Night Football became Sunday Night Football.
That's the one you want.
So
yeah.
So that team is the one that does. I mean, it's the best graphics, best commentators, best production. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazon has already grabbed. They're talking to Al Michaels, right? But Al says, "I want to." They already got Al's producer. So Al, before he signs a deal, though, the great Al Michaels, who must be in his 80s by now, he's been around forever and ever. He says, "I want you to get me a good partner." So now, Hollywood's watching. Everybody's watching with interest to see, who Amazon can get to work.
Is it going to be Ryan Reynolds? No spoilers, but is it going to be Ryan Reynolds?
I think it'll probably be a football player.
Ryan Reynolds would be great.
I think he'll be a football player.
He could play a football player. It's Ryan Reynolds.
Where was I reading this? I'm following this.
Tom Brady.
Somewhere. Well, I think, they were talking about Collinsworth, who...
Well, that's who's in the current.
He currently works with Al
great.
Michaels.
He's great.
Sunday night is going to be, this year, is Mike Tirico is replacing Al Michaels, and I think Collinsworth. But then there's former Cowboy stars like Romo. And
Romo, I think he's packaged up for a while with. I think is it CBS? Is that right? Yeah, they're paying him a lot of money. He's the one to watch right now.
Like hundreds of millions of dollars for this stuff.
He's so much fun. He's so much fun to watch, in my opinion. To listen,
because he knows, because he's recently in the game, and he knows, right?
And he's passionate about it. Like he just is like, oh my gosh, this is what they're gonna do. I can see it coming. And sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong, but it's just fun to listen.
It's fun.
Okay, so hear me out. We packaged it up as TikToks, because you can go to 10 minutes now on TikTok, and then people can swipe between plays. That way, you have like immediate dopamine.
By the way,
the minute anything happens.
I will say that I think that TikTok is ruining their platform with 10 minutes. Like,
that's another
excruciating.
Thing. So they went from 60 seconds to 3 minutes, and now they've announced they're going to go to 10 minutes. That's really long.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 5.
Yeah.
It's not bad because people watch hours of TikTok. Like, it's not a length of. Some people are like, no one's going to watch vertical video for that. People watch it for hours. No. But the thing, TikTok has trained you that a new experience is only a swipe away, and the attention span is so concentrated. You want that hit every second, and 10 minutes holding attention for 10 minutes on TikTok. I don't know if Mr. Beast could do that. That's a very big challenge.
It takes a lot of production value to stretch something over a long distance. Yeah. And so the thing is that the reason TikTok works for people who don't have a big production group and writers and things and everything else is because it was short. As you start to stretch it out, the problem is that when you go to TikTok, you want it to be snappy and really cool. And the problem is that most people without a budget can't make it snappy and cool, except for someone like you, and of course us in this show. I mean, we can do it forever. But the thing is that for that model, I find that like I get into it and I even see the little player start and I can calculate this is a 3-minute TikTok and I immediately just go to the next one.
Yes.
I'm not going to watch this for 3 minutes, So 10 minutes will be worse.
I did not know this, but Guy Kawasaki hired Mark Benioff as an intern at a USC in 1984. The whole story is on Guy's Remarkable People podcast. Of course, Mark Benioff, the founder of Salesforce, worth $10 billion. But
he bought equity in him.
Yeah.
Only he bought equity in him.
Yeah. Guy says, I was a software evangelist in the Macintosh division of Apple in 1984. Mark was a student at USC. I gave him a summer intern job in the summer of 84 to write sample assembly language programs so the developers around the world could see how Macintosh programs were written. Man, I was writing assembly language programs for the Mac in that time frame. I should have talked to Guy. Dang, I was too old. So
Leo was right there.
I was too young. Our timing was off, Leo. That was it.
Bad timing. You should have been a college kid. So Mark says,
I was too much of a maverick. He told me.
all my first software that I wrote was written for the Mac in a 68,000 assembler.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was so much fun. I wrote in fact, I think I was the first to do a multitasking program for the Mac because I wrote an auto dialer because my bulletin board only had 2 modems. So I had to write an auto dialer that would dial in the background on a Macintosh. This is in 84, 85. And it would do it because on the Macintosh screen, there were CRTs. There was a brief period of time as the electron gun repositioned from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen that the Mac wasn't doing anything. It's called a vertical blank interval. And so what I would do in the vertical blank interval would be just enough time to stuff like two characters into the Hayes modem buffer, AT, DT, and I put the phone up, and then it would every I think it was at 60 times a second, right? Every 60th of a second, it would get a little millisecond to do that, and then it would dial the number, send it out, and then it would listen for a pickup, and if it did, I had a big honking because I figured. You're busy doing something else. You want this to go on. You're doing something else. Maybe you got up, got a cup of tea. You want to know. I got into the bulletin board, so that Q dial I called it.
That's great.
I think that was an early first multitasking program. I could have been somebody instead of a podcaster. Benioff says, I learned while being at Apple that a technology company, a great one, is filled with amazing energy, vitality, and a sense of urgency. At the same time, there's a great culture at Apple. Steve Jobs had those Odwalla juices for everyone, and shiatsu masseurs that were going up and down the hallways, keeping programmers limber. I don't know if they do that at Salesforce. I don't know if he learned. I'll tell you what I learned about Odwalla. We used to have, when we were doing ZDTV, when we were doing the site for MSNBC, they did the same thing, probably inspired by that. They got a big Odwalla refrigerator, and they just gave us Odwallas. And pretty soon there was just people were drinking, they're $1.50 each. So much Odwalla that they had to print up some Odwalla dollars, and you got a certain number of Odwalla dollars a day that you could spend on Odwallas.
They made us pay for them at Lucasfilm.
Yeah,
like when I was at Lucasfilm,
giving away
Odwalla, but I had to buy.
Are they still around? There was I remember they had a problem with E. coli at one point.
Yeah, the super green one was that was the one that I.
Oh yeah, Odwalla's still around. They're probably owned by
Mango.
Pepsi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Headquarters Atlanta, Georgia. Well, let's see who's in Atlanta. Oh yeah, the Coca-Cola Company. Our website currently under construction. Out of Santa Cruz, California, in 1980. But they were good. They were like real fruit. It was good stuff.
The superfood one was my favorite. I
remember the superfood. Yeah, we couldn't keep them in stock. I had to get the Odwalla dollars. Poor Soledad O'Brien.
Do you have tolerance for more breaking stuff?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So this is Apple's statement they just put out about the sales in Russia. They said, "We're deeply concerned about the Russian invasion of the Ukraine and stand with all people who are suffering as a result of the violence. We are supporting humanitarian efforts, providing aid for the unfolding refugee crisis, and doing all we can to support our teams in the region. We've taken a number of actions in response to the invasion. We have paused all product sales in Russia. Last week, we stopped all exports into our sales channels in the country. Apple Pay and other services have been limited. RT News and Sputnik News are no longer available for download from the App Store outside Russia. And we have disabled both traffic and live incidents in Apple Map in Ukraine as a safety and precautionary measure for Ukraine citizens."
Great. Thank you, Tim.
It's not just a currency thing.
Thank you, Tim. Doing the right thing. That's good. Boy, that's great. Let's it's a good time to take a little break. Now we can all celebrate. And when we come back, your picks of the week. How about that? Our show today brought to you by, literally, CashFly, our CDN, Content Delivery Network. We couldn't do what we do without CashFly. In fact, we tried. And it was a horrible failure when Twit first started out in the mid-2000s, like 2005, I think. First it was download the podcast from the website. Oh, that was a failure. Because, I mean, there were literally, when you'd put out the podcast and 100,000 people would try to download it all at once. Then we asked people to please, we're going to use BitTorrent, seed it if you would, please help us. That didn't work. Thank goodness Matt Levine, the founder of CashFly, came to us. This is back in 2006, 2007, said, come on, Leo, you need CashFly. Let me help. And we've been with them ever since. We love it. CashFly, because they've got POPs all over the world, 50 locations. So that means when you download one of our podcasts, audio or video, you're getting it from a server that's closer to you, faster, gives you great throughput, great reliability. Now they're doing video. This is awesome. CashFly's ultra-low latency video streaming. Sub 1 second latency. And you can go live in hours, not days. So ditch that unreliable WebRTC solution for their WebSocket live video workflow. And man, can it scale millions of users. It's just one more reason to take a look at CashFly. CashFly's storage optimization system. We've been using that for a long time. That's now open to the public. You basically store your content on CashFly, which means you eliminate, those bills from your origin servers, your S3 bills. You reduce bandwidth costs, and your cache hit ratio suddenly is 100%. That's a great thing. And they have fully managed solutions. If you need them with CashFly's elite managed packages, you get VIP treatment. We always have gotten VIP treatment from day one. They're just great. 24/7 support, response times in less than an hour. In most cases, they'll already know of any issues and will be working to fix them before the team does. I honestly can't vouch for that because we've never had a problem. We've in more than 10 years, never had a problem. CashFly, they're the best. The CDN we use, if you're delivering content, take a look at their ultra-low latency video streaming, more than 1 million concurrent users. If you're doing gaming, lightning-fast gaming, zero lag, glitches, or outages. If you've got mobile content, they've got mobile content optimization. Makes it easy so your site loads faster on any device. And it's a multi-CDN, which gives them redundancy and failover. They intelligently balance your traffic across multiple providers, so you always get in the shortest routes. It mitigates against performance glitches. In fact, CashFly is 10 times faster than the old HTTPS method we were using. They're on 6 continents, 30 times faster than other major CDNs, a 98% cache hit ratio. And in the last 12 months, not 4 nines, not 5 nines, not 10 nines, 100% availability. 100%. And they've got great 24/7, 365-day-a-year priority support, so they're always there when you need them. I love CashFly. I don't know how many ways to say it. Check it out. If you're not using a CDN, bring your usage trends to CashFly for a complimentary analysis. If you are using a CDN, find out if you're overpaying 20% or more. Just go to twit.cashfly.com. Twit.cashfly.com. No pressure. No high sales pitch. No, none of that. Just information that'll help you make the right decision. Bring your bill, bring your usage trends to twit.cashfly.com. We thank them so much for their support. Let us do our picks of the week. Alex, Lindsay, you haven't been here in a while. I'm dying to know, what do you got?
So I haven't recommended this one for maybe 6 or 7 years. I did look back on MacBreak Picks, which is very useful for me. I don't know who uses it, but it's very useful for me to figure out if I've said something before. Like it is like the key. Is it mbwpicks.com? If people haven't,
I don't know if that's still up. Is that still around?
It is. It's still.
Oh man, he's
still get
current.
every week. Yes,
he's
God
awesome.
bless you.
So you
Thank
can search for your pick because you forgot. But mbwpicks.com never forgets.
It's so
I didn't know he
useful,
was still doing that. Thank you.
So useful. Thank you for doing that, because that's how I keep myself out of trouble. So I did recommend this one before, but I'm going to recommend it again because it came up a couple times in office hours. And my pick of the week is the DSAN Perfect Q Micro. All of the Perfect Qs are great. This is what it looks like. This is the standard for, as people start to come out of COVID and they start doing physical events again, maybe. This is a receiver and this is a transmitter. And even if you look back at the Apple thing where Tim, had to they put a control, a clicker, we call a pickle, a clicker in the case, and then they ran out they had to get it to Tim.
Yeah.
This was it. This is what they were using. A lot of people have a lot of different clickers. This is the one that everybody uses. like
it's
everybody.
So
does
bad if it doesn't work. I used to remember when Apple came out with you could do your keynote slides on your iPhone.
Yeah, it's cute.
I was giving a speech to HBO in Palm Beach, and it failed on me. It was so embarrassing. I had to go over my laptop. I had to figure, you need this thing. This is the thing you need.
So the one we use in events is bigger. It costs more money. It's got a big thing that has a big arrow that goes one way or the other, and so that we can follow along. It's quite a thing. That you can see the bigger one there, and I have those too. But this is the one that I carry in my bag, which is this Micro Q, and this will go hundreds of feet. It will work every single time you push it down. You can program it to different channels, and so you can program these
so it's
little
wireless.
switches.
It's wireless.
This is a wireless connection. Yeah. This plugs wired into your computer. So this is a USB receiver that then sends forward, back, and so on and so forth. And this part is wireless. And don't get the one. There's ones with more buttons. It's just forward and back. Don't do the other ones because it's you'll hit the wrong one in front of a lot of people. But this is it's great. It comes in a little pack, and I just brought it up because I was like, people keep on asking about it. We've had a bunch of people asking about it in office hours, and I was like, I should probably just mention it again. It's been 7 years or 8 years or something like that since the last time I talked about it, and I still use it. I don't speak in public as much anymore, but when I did back in the before days, it was important. And even in my office, though, sometimes I use it because I want to sit there and talk about something, and I just want to push a button to go to the next thing. Sometimes when I'm doing events, or not events, but broadcasts where I'm walking around, it's great to have there too. So
very nice. I see that they must be getting hit by chip shortages because their number of their high-end products are kind of out of.
Yeah, I noticed that right before we came on. I was going to look at the thing, and I was like, well, it might be hard to find. But if you can find them, they're around, and there's some.
And the ones you just showed, they're available. They're not out of stock.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, thanks to chip shortage, man. That's killing everybody.
Yep.
Very nice. Q is from DSAN, DSAN.com.
They're not web developers. You go to their website.
Yeah, I love it. You know what? I don't mind that. It's very basic.
It's very, very.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is this is a lot better than it used to be. It used to be just like it didn't look like they had updated it since the late 90s. And so what we loved about it is that it just seemed like there's no way these guys could be successful. But this is what you see. Their hardware is what you see everywhere. Like it's just when you're doing events.
So you use all of these, the speaker timers and all that stuff too,
I don't.
right?
So we use the speaker. We have a speaker timer, or used to. I used to use a speaker timer, and then I use that large version of the Perfect Q is what you see a lot backstage.
Yeah.
And if you listen really carefully, sometimes someone will turn the speaker up a little too high, and it goes bloop bloop. Bloop, 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 bloop. And if you ever hear that, if you ever wonder what that is, that's because what happens is when we don't connect it directly to the computer, a lot of times we don't let speakers actually forward their slides.
Right.
That big arrow goes one way or the other, and then an operator. So when they say, "Oh, my clicker isn't working," their clicker is working just fine.
Right.
It means the operator was watching the basketball game or something like that. And but those.
So if you ever hear a speaker go bloop 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 bloop.
Yeah, exactly. That means if you hear it over and over and over again, that means the speaker, the cue is working. The person supposed to hit the next button is not working. So
very, very awesome. DSAN.
Yep.
Blip, blip.
Yep.
Now you know.
Yep.
You know, if you know, you know.
Yep, exactly.
Andy Ihnatko, pick of the week.
I've been a little bit distracted for the past 15 minutes because I had picked out my pick of the week, which is this amazing like store/web app called Hero Forge, heroforge.com, which has this amazing 3D interactive builder that lets you design your own like minifigures, your own like role-playing game minifigures. And you think that, okay, well, fine, it's an elf. Okay, it's an orange elf. Okay, the elf is having no, you can customize to such a great degree, and it is so fun to play with that like I realized that I wonder how difficult it would take to do a Jim Dalrymple minifigure during the show.
Wait a minute.
And
have you?
There is a link in the show notes.
I'm going to click the link.
And there's a picture, there's a screen grab, and then I actually took a link to the actual like design in the heroforge.com site.
It does look like him. That's a Heineken bottle. I understand.
Yep.
And then like after, but that's like as of like 8 minutes ago, because I've continued to work on it and realized, oh, wait a minute, that's not actually a Heineken label. The Heineken label is square. It's like, and he said he's getting married, so I should put a wedding ring on his finger. And, he should be wearing an Apple Watch too. And his sneakers, he shouldn't be wearing like high tops. He should be wearing like a Steve Jobs style, like, and oh my God, it's just so much fun and so easy to play with this that you will just basically like in the middle of a Zoom meeting, just be clicking, making minifigures of everybody in the meeting. And the fun thing is you can export it as an STL file, so you can print it on a printer, or you can order one. So, and if you want this Jim Dalrymple minifigure, send them $45. They will send you a painted, like printed version of it.
How do we get this? I guess we'll put it in the show notes. We'll put the link. Don't put the image in the show notes. Let's put the link to the Hero Forge, and then Andy's Hero Forge. And if you want to fix it more and do more, go ahead. So if you log in, then you have more access to more features. You can give them a background and stuff like that, and then you can buy it. Wow!
Right. And again, if you elf ears, of course, you can give the person elf ears, but
get a bronze one.
It's like
get it.
Yeah, I can.
You know, I just bought a bronze set of chess pieces for my nice chessboard. Maybe he should be the king.
Yes,
you could. You know what? You could do a whole chess set. I'm sure you could put a crown on his head.
Oh yeah.
I am so impressed by like how deep and how much fun this app is. Because again, it's also such a great user interface, because if you just want to bash something together very quickly, you can get like within 75% of the Jim Dalrymple minifigure in like minutes. But then like it hides like the advanced stuff. So, well, do you want to actually I've just put a beer bottle in his hand. Do you want to minutely pose the arm? So yes, absolutely. Great. Here's the elbow. So I wanted the beer bottle to be level, because of course he doesn't want to spill any. And so
you need a Mac Mini.
If you want
an iPad Mini in the back pocket.
Yeah, it's like you can't create your own custom objects, but I think that if you were that ambitious, you could spit out the STL file and then edit that stuff. It's, as I said, I can't, just as a thing to play with, I am just amazed by this thing. I'm blown away by it. And now and I am like, I kind of want to send them $45 just to see what comes back. Obviously, the colors aren't going to be. They're very, very blunt about how like the
I've added some
work.
Empty beer bottles at his feet. I think that's very important.
See, exactly. You cannot. That's much more realistic. You can't stop playing with this.
OMG, Alex, I want a chess set. I think I need a Mac
obsessed.
Break Weekly chess set.
I'm obsessed. I'm having a hard time. Like I was just like, oh my gosh, I could, because you could put them in a T-pose, and then you could actually. I think I could take the models and like animate them. I think we could figure out a way to animate these.
So Jim, go ahead, retire. We don't care. We've got you. We've got
He's going to be a VTuber now.
Yeah, look at that. That's incredible. How fun is that?
I mean, again, my hat's off. This is a horrible thing for me to have found at like 1 a.m. when I'm like, oh, I'll just like make one more like round trip of like basic searches, and I was up until like 4 a.m. because I was like, let's see if we can do this. And again,
very nice.
Oh my gosh.
Who's lost Alex? HeroForge, HeroForge.com. This is their business is printing these and selling them.
Yeah. But it costs. You don't even have to sign up for anything to play with anything.
Play with it. No.
If you sign up for it, then you can do things like there's a photo booth feature, so you can take pictures of it, so to speak. But yeah, it's boy, this is great.
I want to make. The problem is you can't really mess with the face that much, right? So you can't make it look like somebody.
Also realize that this is going to be like a mini tabletop figure. So, I mean, you're not going to get a lot of detail wouldn't come through anyway. But yeah, in terms of what you're looking at on the screen.
Right. How big?
It'll get close
big are
enough.
These?
About like yay big.
Oh, they are mini. Okay.
They are, again, they're like tabletop.
But you can download an STL?
You can download a shape file and edit it to your car's.
Alex is rigging them already.
You pay for that. It's $8 for the STL.
Right. You also get them unpainted for like a lot less. So if you want to, if you want to, would that'd be a great like family Christmas present where like game tokens for Monopoly, like based on like each member of the family and the dog.
And you paint them live on Twitch.
Oh my God, this is great.
Yeah.
Okay, you've given us a whole new show. Hero Forge, the podcast. Renee, your pick of the week.
Oh, like I'm going to go after Anako, Leo. There's no way to live up to that. He just mic dropped and walked off.
Actually,
it's so unfair.
I'm mad at you because I just bought the Logitech Brio camera for Lisa. I mentioned she wants to kind of broadcast setup in her office. Maybe I should have bought this.
You don't have to be mad, Leo, because you can't buy this yet. This is like invite private beta only. This is like a meta pick because we were talking about pre-show. If you're a Twit++ subscriber, you'll see all our hijinks before the actual show starts. We were talking about webcams, and this is like an escalation. This is like just a rapid. It's a webcam, but it's got so much stuff built in. It's a $300
Sony sensor. So it's, yes. Okay. So
yeah, this is like again, it's the MKBHD of webcams. It's mirrorless. It's really, really fast. It's designed to look like something that wouldn't really come out of Apple's lab because it's a little bit fussier than Apple would be, but it looks almost like Leica inspired. Whatever the opposite of steampunk is, future punk, hope punk. I forget what
it looks pretty cool. Yeah,
aspirational brand is, and it's designed to look like really radical, sitting on in your setup so that people can see what a cool setup you have, and it's just looks really nice. The software is really nice. You can't buy it yet. You can sign up to be put on a list of people who may be allowed to buy it at some point. They say it's in private beta. I've seen some people, a lot of our Twitter friends who are in that space have tweeted about it, like the Casey Neistats and Marquez Brownlees and Ken Kishendas and various people like that. Looks really nice. The industrial design is really nice. Haven't had an opportunity to try it yet, obviously, because I'm not cool enough. But it does look like if you really want to be like the cool webcam kid on your block, this is your next obvious
and support for the Mac, which is nice.
I mean, all the cool kids are using Macs in these influencer spaces anyway.
Yeah.
They got to do that.
Yeah, it looks like they don't bother with any other platform.
No.
Wow, that's nice.
It's
a
very aptly website.
Okay, okay. Yeah, $300 is the key. I mean, of course, you can use a DSLR. Everybody knows that, but that's this is something you could dedicate to it for $300. I was almost got her that the vlogger cameras, both Sony and Canon, I think, make vlog cameras that are only like $500 or $600.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Brio. One of the reasons why I upgraded my Olympus camera was that I'll be like my friends on MacBreak. I'll have like a really nice like large sensor frame mirrorless camera as my webcam, and it's like, can I do it better? Can I get a better signal than this? Not really. Okay.
Yeah.
I keep on testing. I have a lot of webcams, and but the only one that we bought in Matt. Yeah, I know. I have like 5 or 6 different ones within arm's reach, and I don't have that one yet. But I have. But the one that we've standardized on for years has been the Brio, and it's been really successful. I mean, we've probably bought 150.
Oh, good. So I just accidentally
it's so
stumbled
easy-
onto the right one. Is that what
so
you're
easy
using
to
right now,
travel with, too.
Andy?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that looks really good. Yeah.
The software is a little bit annoying in that, like, I'll get it set up. Like the software is great because obviously it has enough pixels that you can like zoom in and zoom out, and then you can adjust your centering and stuff like that, and adjust brightness, contrast, stuff like that. The only problem is that I'll like spend my waiting time like waiting for the show to start, like getting this absolutely perfect, and then the connection starts, and then it will like reset back to the default. I'll have to do it all over again.
The only reason I'm using a 70 millimeter is that when I'm using anything that at all wide, especially like if it's 24 or something, I look like Gollum. Just my ears recede to the back, my nose comes really far. I need as much compression as possible. I need to be flattened, and that's what this does for me.
That's actually a good idea. That is the argument for using a SLR is
Right.
You
can find the right lens for your face.
Find the lens for your face. Yeah,
that's why I like the idea of having a 4K video, but having it so far back that I'm not getting the sort of like distortion effect. So it's a really good happy medium.
Good. Well, I guess I ordered the right thing. I also ordered this because she wants to have dual monitors. She's going to replace the iMac with her M1, first generation M1. But then I found out, as I remembered this, and I thought, wait a minute, you can only drive one monitor with the M1. This just came out today from Hyperdrive. I have purchased many Hyperdrive docking solutions in the past. So I know this is a Sanho, which makes this good company. This is a 4K multi-display docking station for those old 13-inch and 14-inch MacBooks, which has 2 HDMI ports, 2 mini display ports. They say driverless. You can drive. Am I crazy? Will this work, Renee? Can I drive 2 monitors with my M1? Nothing?
I don't know. I don't know enough about this. I know
they say you
can
without.
HDMI dongle.
I've seen hacks that you install software and stuff. They say no additional software necessary. This is nice because it's wedge shaped, so it just you put the laptop right on it, and it's got 18 dang ports. I think we talked about this before. I don't think, but this is now out and available. $250. There's one with even more ports for $299, and they say, see, driverless setup. I don't know if that means I can do 2. Well, I'll let you know.
We appreciate Lisa for letting us know.
Yes, I will let you know. They are now for sale from hypershop.com. All right. I think we're done. All right. Renee Ritchie, youtube.com/Renee Ritchie. What you got going?
I'm trying to do previews, like more in-depth previews of everything that I think could possibly be coming up this year, especially in the Mac space because it's so new and so exciting. And also a lot of silicon stuff because I think we're on the verge of like 4 nanometer, 3 nanometer. I know Johnny Sarugi is just crushing down those process nodes with his bare hands.
Amazing.
He has that intense stare. He's like, this will go to 3 nanometers. And just like, and it's so interesting to me. In 2010, we went to the A4, and in 2020, we went to the M1. And I'm already wondering what this decade of Apple Silicon is going to do for us. So I'm diving deep into a lot of that stuff.
Very nice. ReneeRitchie.com/YouTube. Thank you, Renee. Andy Anako, WGBH Boston. When's your next appearance?
Very, very great news. 12:30 on Friday, as usual. As most of you will want to just go to WGBHnews.org to stream it live or later. But after 2 years away from that wonderful open air studio at the Boston Public Library, Boston Public Radio is back in their studio. So I'm going to be actually live from the Boston Public Library. So if you are in the Boston area or hanging through town, you want an excuse to stop in, buy yourself a cup of coffee at the cafe, and watch my look like when I'm trying to be presentable towards people, by all means, come on in.
Very good. Thank you, Andrew. If you are into this stuff, all of this production stuff, you got to watch Office Hours. Alex Lindsay's officehours.global. Amazing place to learn everything.
We have launched 2.0, Office Hours 2.0.
Is it out?
So
how exciting.
it's out. So if you go to it's actually office hours. It's like, YouTube / today was us actually
Ruthless
talking
reviews,
about it.
my favorite. I love
we
it.
just pick at each other's backgrounds, like, oh, the light is just a little off, and
love
the background, and can we move this over? And so, but 2.0 is we've now, instead of streaming natively from Zoom, we're now going through this hardware system that's streaming, and it's still, we're still working out a couple of the kinks in it, but what you're seeing now is something that looks much closer to broadcast, and it's going to take us through this year, and so we'll be tweaking a lot of things, and we're pushing the outer envelope of what kind of show you can do on Zoom, but it looks pretty good. That looks like one of the old ones.
Yeah, this is the prepping to switch. Like. All right, so now we see prepping to switch. Let's just today's show. Should it be in the new format, right?
You can see the
big. Well, let me see. I have to make sure I'm in HD on YouTube. Yes, it was limited to 720. Now it's 1080p.
Now it's 1080.
Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. And
that's coming in. And if you skip around a little bit, you'll probably see the super sources, and there's a lot more. And the thing that's interesting about this is that the production for this is being run by people all over the world. So literally someone's cutting the show on a web page somewhere in the world, and there's a team that's putting together. So the sound is being managed out of the Philippines, and there's all kinds of, and the lower thirds are being generated automatically. So when
those lower thirds are automatically, those are nice lower thirds.
Yeah, those are generated based on who is on screen right now. So it's actually reacting to the system. So it's kind of a big brain.
They're so much nicer than our lower thirds. Look at that. They're so good looking.
And so, but that again, and then when we do the super sources, when there's like multiple people on the screen, you're actually what you're actually seeing is the super source gets built. That whole look gets built automatically. Not that one. That one's just a gallery view. But when it builds a super source, that's being built by who is answering the question. So someone asks the question, people raise their hand, say, I want to answer the question. Then I say yes, 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 yes to the right people, or to the people that have, in the order that I want them to answer it. And then it tells the switcher what to do. And so like that is being generated automatically. That's not, someone didn't have to figure out where it was. So
John, you might be out of a job, John.
Still need someone to cut it.
Oh, okay.
All
right. Good.
In fact, the funny thing is we expect probably 30, 40 people by the summer, 30 or 40 people somewhere in the world will be running the show. Like it's not going to go, we're not doing less people, we're doing more people because, it's a great opportunity to learn how to run, bigger events.
Yeah.
So it's, so we're
how do
pretty
you
excited about it.
So I see YouTube is putting the segment and what the question being answered is at the bottom of it. Is that done automatically as well, or does somebody have to write that?
No, that's Jeffrey Powers. Well, no, it's somewhat automatic. So our question system keeps track of all of those things. So it keeps track of the time.
But somebody has
to
type it in. Yeah.
No, they don't have to type it in. They download it and then upload it into there.
Well, that's not so bad.
So it's not, so our Q&A system is keeping track of what we're going to next, and it keeps all the time stamps. And then that's being added, that's being formatted, it's automatically formatted, and then Jeffrey Powers, who is another YouTube personality, takes it and moves it in. And so, so a lot of that is generated largely automatically.
Really
and we'll probably use the API to do it later.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Amazing. Office Hours 2.0. OfficeHours.global if you want to know more about it. And if you want to hire this genius to run your next streaming event, 090.media. 090.media. The rest of us are not for sale. Although I might design a hero for you.
Here we go. I've been working on my little dude here.
Oh yeah, nice.
I have no idea what
he's wearing a kilt.
I know. Rumsleg.
This is if Rumsleg went back into the past. This is Rumsleg's prequel.
He's about to announce Star Fox.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Fun. So fun. Makes me want to pick up Dungeons and Dragons just to have a character that I can play with. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We do Mac Break weekly on a Tuesday, around 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1900 UTC. You can watch us live at live.twit.tv. There's audio and video streams there 24/7. Something's always going on. And usually, if there's something going on, people are chatting about it in our IRC, irc.twit.tv. After the fact, you can get on-demand versions of everything we do at our website, twit.tv, for this show, twit.tv/mbw. You can also, you'll find a link there to our YouTube channel. Every show has its own dedicated YouTube channel as well. Of course, the easiest thing to do is just subscribe in your favorite podcast player. You get it automatically. Just search for MacBreak Weekly, add audio or video, and you can see it every Tuesday the minute we're done. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. But now you got to get back to work because break time is over. I almost forgot.
It's over.
It's because you don't want it to end.
I almost said it's in the can. It's over.
Is that an iPhone in your hand? Wait a second. Is that an Apple Watch on your wrist? And do I see an iPad sitting there on the table? Oh my goodness. You are the perfect person to be watching iOS Today, the show where Rosemary Orchard and I, Micah Sargent, talk all things iOS, tvOS, watchOS, HomePod OS. It's all the OSs that Apple has on offer, and we show you how to make the most of those gadgets. Just head to twit.tv/iOS to check it out.